And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the post-Pesach programming of the of Live at 5. I just have three. We have to have a new season. It's a new season opener. Right after we started, right before Passover last year, and now it's right after Passover this year, and we're still cruising along. Live at 5. This time, fresh back from Vegas. I don't know if you can see behind me. This is the beautiful fountain show of the Las Vegas hotel thing there, which I happened to snap a picture of last week. I was out in the desert, and at one of the just like the Jewish people suffered in the desert with nothing to eat after they got out of Egypt. So we decided to suffer similarly over the holiday of Passover. So we went to Vegas, which is dreadful, just like that, pretty much same experience. I think that the Jewish people were similarly subjected to Vegas style torture when they were out of Egypt, and so we wanted to experience that. We didn't. Don't worry, I didn't gamble away any of the precious donations that we collected the week before, and that's the good news. We didn't play any of the slot machines, but here I have another great virtual background that I want to show you. That another picture that I took of our little getaway in Vegas over Pesach, which is this one, which was taken from the pictures. That's the Las Vegas Strip there. We took from a helicopter over kind of flying over the Strip. That's really the only way to experience the Las Vegas casinos, as far as I'm concerned, which is way far above. You got to fly over that stuff. Just fly right over and enjoy the sparkly glitz from the sky. So so that's what we did. It was a little getaway, but we're happy. I missed everyone, and happy to be back for Passover. Is this thing working here? Okay, good. We're good. It's been quite a while, and we're a little bit out of it. Today is another day, another week of Live 5. It's the 23rd of the month of Nisan, and the 8th day of the Omer. I want to wish a happy birthday to Amy Toltz Miller. And anyone else celebrating birthdays I don't know about. Actually, we're this coming Shabbos, Parshas Shmini, we're going to be making the blessing on the upcoming month of ER, which is my birthday month. So I'm just thinking a lot about birthdays in mind. And not that that's a big deal. The only birthday, I think I mentioned this before on the show, the only birthday party mentioned in the Torah is that of Pharaoh. So not that it's obviously, you shouldn't make too much of that, but I went to, so the picture I took, we were away for some of the intermediary days of Passover. We were in Vegas. There's a very, it's a very direct, cheap flight from Denver to Vegas. You can get to Vegas very easily. Getting out is harder, but getting there, they make it very easy for you. The synagogue that was right near our little Airbnb we found was called Or Bamidbar, which means light in the desert. I felt right at home there. You go out, lights in the desert. These are the lights in the desert, and that's what it was. The truth was, we rented this little Airbnb from a guy named John Cartwright. And when we got there, he came in to show us how to navigate everything in the house. And he looked at us and he said, "Oh, you are Jewish?" And we said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I'm Israeli." And he changed his name. Really, his name was Asaf, but he called himself John Cartwright on Airbnb to avoid, I don't know what he was trying to avoid. But it was nice that our Israeli Airbnb host, he could tell us where the synagogues were and where all the kosher food was and everything. There's actually a lot of kosher food in Las Vegas. Who would have known? They have more kosher restaurants than we do in Denver. This is a shanda. It's crazy. How could it be that such a city should have more kosher food than Denver? But they do. Little, now we didn't go eat in any of these places because it's Passover, and on Passover we don't eat anything except what we make in our own kitchen. So we took our own kugel and our own matzah and our own everything. We took it over there, schlepped it right in our suitcase. I can tell you exactly what a potato kugel looks like after it's been checked in through your luggage and comes out the other side. I now know you can do that. It's not a problem. TSA lets it right through. Of course, I had some Passover almond flour, non-gebrachts, blueberry chocolate, banana chocolate chip muffins in my carry-on that did arouse some TSA security. They had to pull me aside and look at that. But as soon as he looked at my food, he said, I could tell you, it was pretty funny. Actually, I went through TSA security and the guy looks at me and he takes kind of a double take and he says, "Oh, are you from New York?" I guess it was the yarmulke, right? Like what with all Jew. Oh, I've seen people like you before. They always come from New York. You must be from New York, right? Are you from New York? I thought it was so cute. He didn't ask my Israel, nothing. He didn't say a Jew. He said, "You must be from New York, right? You look like the New Yorkers that come through here." Actually, I had the same experience once a while back in Denver. I was at the airport. I went through TSA and, I just checked in and normally the guy is looking at me and looks at my ID and he says, "Oh yeah, you were here yesterday, right?" And I'm like, "No, but we all look alike. It's okay. It's all right." It was totally confused. I guess some other Jew went through to the same security the day before, and it was so funny. "Oh yeah, you were just here, right? Yesterday. Wait, so no, I didn't fly out through yesterday. No, that wasn't me. Somebody else." Very funny, but you gotta love it. TSA, and the funny thing about the airport in Las Vegas is it's right near everything. You literally like fly in and you practically look like you're going to collide. The plane is going to collide with the hotels. It's literally the hotels and the strip is right next to the airport, which I don't know. Does that tell you something? I mean, what the real estate around the airport generally is like. Not so nice. It's Las Vegas. Not so nice. It's kind of the definition of like shiny and glitzy on the outside, like looks pretty from a distance, but don't get too close. So I'm not a big fan of the glitz and the strip. That wasn't why we went, but it was a nice little getaway. And one of these days we're going to go back and we're going to actually get to eat in those kosher restaurants when it's not Passover, do a kayaking in Hoover Dam, climb Red Rock Canyon, and do all the fun things that we didn't get to do. Otherwise, we just sort of sat in the sunlight. But I missed all of you, and I hope you had a wonderful Passover too. What? By the time I'm done with 8-9 days of eating matzah, I am just like so jazzed, so fueled, so energized to, for something else, like anything else really, just to go and do. And, you come away, every holiday is like this really. It's not about the matzah. Every holiday, it's like an oasis. It's like a vacation from all of those things you want to get away from. It's a vacation from the humdrum, from the work, from the everything, and just can like plug into something eternal and essential and really deeply meaningful. And really, I come out of such a period of time with a lot of creative ideas and stuff that I want to do. And I'm delighted to be back in the saddle here in back in the studio, and here fresh back from Or Midbar. So today, one of the things that we need to talk about, of course, is the special reality, the travel, the journey, as it were, that we're still in the middle of. I remember one of my dear friends and mentors back in Israel when I was newly married, and I was there, and he invited us to his family Seder. Actually, it was one of the only rabbis Seders that I actually got to go to, and it was very fascinating, very beautiful. I loved the involvement of his kids and the way that he that he had a way of singing the same song over and over again, that everybody at the table got a chance to sing their turn, which was very sweet. And for Maror, for the bitter herbs, he ate endive. Never seen that before or since. Endive. Okay, that was his bitter herbs. But he also had this beautiful perspective, which he taught about Jewish holidays in general and the Jewish calendar in general, which he gave us sort of an image. And this is based on some things taught by Rabbi Dessler in the Michtav Me'Eliyahu. He talked about the picture of the Jewish year is a spiral, like a spring like a spiral. So it goes around and around, but not just in a circle, but in a spiral. So you're kind of going upwards and upwards and around. Now, a circle would be the idea of you kind of come and go, and you go back to the same place every year, which we do somewhat. But we go back there, but it's a new year, but it's the same place. Another metaphor that goes along with that is it's a little bit like a train ride. Imagine, and I don't know if you ever had this opportunity. In my life once, I got a chance to travel through some of the trains in Europe. Back in the day before, life was crazy. I think that was a very normal thing to do for young people. They would finish with their college obligations and they would get aboard a train, and they were just, you get kind of like this open ticket of European trains. You could kind of ride around in different cities and stop here and there. It was a very easy thing to do. I don't know if people do that so much anymore, but in my day it was very common. And it got to, so imagine that you're going on these trains, go through Paris and you go through Prague and Berlin, not necessarily in that order. And you would, see the sights of the city. If you know where you're going, if you know what's coming, then you'd get off the train and you could go see, okay, this is Paris, so we'll go to the Eiffel Tower. This is Berlin. We're going to see the Reichstag. This is Prague. We're going to go drink some beer and go to the old Jewish shul and the old cemetery. You have whatever you need to do in each little place. What's there to be had. So Jewish holidays are a little bit like a train ride through Europe, if you will. And each holiday is like a stop on the train. Okay. Now, if you know what's going on, and you know where you're traveling, and you know what's to see, then when you get off at the train stop, you know where to go. Oh, okay, this is Paris, so we're going to the Louvre and we're going to the Eiffel Tower, etc. We're going to go see the Seine. But if you have no idea what's there, either you stay on the train, you just sleep through the stop, wait till the next stop, or you miss out on the sights. You have no idea what you're missing. You got to know what that journey is like. Where are we going? What's this stop? What's the next stop? What are we going to after that? And we're going around in a circle, but it's really a spiral. And each year we go through the same stops. You make the same trip, the same holidays, but hopefully every year we're a little different. The year's a little different. We've had more experiences. We've learned a little bit more. We've got better sense of who we are and what the holidays mean and what these stops on the train are like. So it happens to be that Passover is like the first stop of this year's holiday train ride, because it's the first of all the holidays. And now we're boarded the train and we're moving on. And the train has left the station and it's on its way to the next stop. And the next major stop on the train ride of the Jewish calendar is the holiday of Shavuos. Now, Shavuos and Passover are not just like stop one and stop two on the train ride, but they're actually almost linked in a certain way. They're almost like two parts of the same stop. They have a very, very, very rich, strong connection with each other. And the connection between them is what I want to talk a little bit about today. The holiday of Shavuos is very unique in that nowhere in the Torah does it tell you what the date of that holiday is. It doesn't tell you when it is. It just says that the day after Passover, start counting. Count 49 days, and the next day, that's your Shavuos. In a sense, it's not really pinned down to any one particular calendar date. Because the Jewish calendar is a little bit fluid, a little bit flexible. Months could be 29 days or 30 days. And if you're just counting from Passover, which is on the 15th of Passover, and then you count 49 days hence, the next day is Shavuos. Maybe it's on the 6th of Sivan, maybe it's on the 7th of Sivan. The Talmud talks about which day it'll be. And we make sure that it's on one day of the calendar every year, but not because the Torah said to celebrate the holiday on that calendar date. It's just because it said, start counting at Passover time. And when you get to 49, the next day is your holiday. It's the next stop. So it's intimately linked. There's no other holiday like that. It's intimately linked. It's 49 days hence from Passover. That's when it is. And these two holidays are linked. And the way that we sort of ride the train between them is by counting each one of those days. And we have this mitzvah, this commandment that every day we actually count the day out loud. We say, today is the eighth day of the Omer being, we'll talk about it, the sort of the nickname of this count. Today is the eighth day. Today happens to be the eighth day since it's already been a week since Passover. And so today is day 8. And if you haven't already counted today, you could count it right now. You could repeat after me. Today is the 8th day of the Omer. Of course, if you're watching the rerun at another time, that would be a waste of time. But if you're live and you're watching this live at 5 like you should be, and if you want to join us in the studio and you could be live next time, go on Zoom at 5 p.m. Monday through Thursdays, Mountain Standard Time, 694348057. And then you can watch it live, and then it'll make much more sense to you. But the count is today is day 8. And what is that count? So it seems like it's like a countdown. Here we are. We're getting ready for, we got out of Egypt and we're heading to the holiday of Shavuos, which celebrates the day that the Jewish people got the Torah on Mount Sinai. That day is a big day. We're excited about it. We're looking forward to it. And as with anything that is such a big deal, you get excited. You start a countdown. One of my friends and colleagues in town, Rabbi Jacobs, he loves to talk about this counting of the Omer. He knows so many of its intricate details, and sort of his metaphor for it is, and maybe somebody gave this to him as a gift when he was engaged. When you get engaged, it seems like there used to be this thing, it was like a clock that would count down the weeks, days, hours, minutes, and even seconds till the wedding. So you would like program in, the date and the time of the wedding and the current time and just hit go. And it was just a countdown clock, and so you'd get, it didn't matter how long you're engaged, you had the countdown. And I mean, what a terrifying, I guess for the guys that could, no, it's exciting. You're excited. I'm just kidding. It's not terrifying, Dave. Come on. But it reminds me of a joke, actually. There was a play one time in the elementary school, and it was a wedding play. So the little boy came home, and he told his father that he was in the play, and his father was delighted. He said, "Okay, great. What role did you get?" So he said, "Well, I'm going to be the groom." So he said, "Oh, why didn't you get a speaking part?" So these are just a bad joke. But the point is that where you get a countdown when something is exciting and it's a big deal, you count down till you get there, right? You got to count down. Sorry about that bad joke, Andrew. That was terrible. But I just heard that recently, so it was a tip of tongue. But you're going to count down. Now the problem with everything I just told you is, there's several problems, but the real problem with what I was just saying is that the countdown isn't a countdown. So frankly, what would make sense, and this is not my problem with the count, is a classical Talmudic difficulty with the concept of, if we're really counting to Shavuos because we're excited, why are we counting down? 49 days left, 48 days left, 47 days left. It's not. It's a count up. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. I mean, it makes no sense. It's like more, it just makes it seem further and further away. If you're excited about it, you count down. The clock ticking towards the wedding, because we are, after all, excited about it, is counting down. It's not counting up. So what is this? What is really going on? So there are a variety of beautiful ways to understand and explain it. I'll try to share a little bit of some ideas, but the idea of counting up is, when you want to count up, that means that you're excited about each one of the things you have. If I'm counting down $20 bills for you, then you're counting up, because of one $20 bills, two $20, three $20 bills. And the more I put on the table and the more of them you count, the more excited you are. Because each one of the things you're counting is what has value. When you're counting something that's meaningful and it's valuable, you count it. As we might say, I'm going to make it count. So the idea here is that we're counting days after Passover, because each one of those days itself is valuable. It has value, as meaning I've done something with it. It itself is valuable, and therefore I'm counting it. And I've got another day, and I've got another one of these days, and I count upwards. And the goal is to get a whole lot of them consecutively, consistently in a row. How many of them? Actually, 49 of them. And then I will really be rich and ready for the holiday of Shavuos. Now, what's the connection, as it were? What's the connection between these, these days and Shavuos and Passover? And what are we counting? So the beautiful idea from the Michtav Me'Eliyahu, a beautiful sefer we mentioned once earlier on. It was written by, it's actually a series of books written about many beautiful topics, including holidays and Jewish philosophy, written by a Rabbi Dessler. Rabbi Dessler, he was actually born in England. And even though these are all written in Hebrew, they've been translated into beautiful English under the title Strive for Truth. And if you want to get a copy of them, you can get it here at the Jewish Experience bookstore. You can order them online. Strive for Truth. Some of the most insightful Jewish philosophy and perspective that I could offer you in English. Strive for Truth. Beautiful series. And anyway, about Shavuot, the holiday of Shavuos and counting toward Shavuos, he says the following. When the Jewish people got out of Egypt, we just celebrated Passover. We thinking about Exodus. We got out of Egypt. It wasn't just that they got sort of free of persecution and Pharaoh and slavery and all the abuse that was going on there. That's all true. We got out of all that. But perhaps more significantly, what we got away from was this terribly unholy influence of Egyptian culture and reality that we were submerged within. We lived sunk into the sort of the mire of Egyptian idolatry and immorality. And it was a terrible place for us. In fact, it was such a place when Jacob, who knew that his children were going to be enslaved because God promised that to his grandfather Abraham already, when he found out that enslavement was going to take place in Egypt, he was terrified. Any country, any other place, let us be enslaved somewhere else. Let my children not be enslaved in Egypt. Egypt, that's a frightening place. That's a scary place. Egypt back in the day was a godless place. Maybe it was godful. There was way too many gods. It was idols and gods everywhere. And it was a big problem for us. In fact, it got to a place where the Jewish people, we ourselves, had slowly been very deeply affected by that stuff. We were also practicing that idolatry. We had long since practically all but abandoned the beautiful heritage of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There was all this great Judaism, all these wonderful lessons of divine service that were all but lost. And the Jewish people was almost irredeemable. They were almost unrecognizable in a spiritual sense from the Egyptians, such that the Medrash actually says the angel said to God, why are you rescuing the Jewish people from the Egyptians? I mean, yeah, they worship idols, but so do they. We were almost indistinguishable. It was a terrible place for us. The influence on us was awful. And so when we got out of there, it wasn't just that we were no longer being tortured by Egyptians. It was no longer we were being taught by Egyptians, no longer being influenced by Egyptians. We were taken away from all of that bad model stuff. That's not the best way to say that. We were really subjected to a high degree of ungodly influence. And when we got out of there, it was a day of like holiness and purity. It was a day of cleanliness. It was a day when we were completely, free from that stuff. And we left that stuff behind, left all that idolatry, left all that immorality. We left it behind in Egypt. And when we went an entire day without it, we said, look what we just did. An entire day completely devoid of Egyptian influence. Almost like an alcoholic who goes to an AA meeting and says, today is my first day of sobriety. Today I'm 2 days sober, 3 days sober, right? With pride every day from that old practice, all that old stuff, awful behavior. Today I am 3 days clean. And each and every day is precious. Precious because it's clean, it's cleansed of, it's devoid of, it's free. The freedom that we experienced was we're now free of Egyptian influence. And every day that we had an entire day without it was a day of purity and accomplishment. And each day they counted that day. And so we have one day. We're one day from that old Egypt experience. We're 2 days. We're 3 days. Look, we've been 4 days without any Egyptian behavior and effect on us. We're free. And as they got further and further, they had accomplished more and more. And it was a way of putting distance between them. That we're so far, and we finally got so far from Egypt. We were far enough, and we had spent enough time devoid of that Egyptian influence that eventually we were so lofty, we were so accomplished, we had gone so far and done so much that we were ready to stand at the foot of Mount Sinai and receive the Torah. But each and every day was something of value. We were collecting them. We're not counting down till we get there. We're counting up from where we left. Now today, thank God, we're not coming out of Egypt. We weren't, 2 weeks ago, we weren't enslaved in Egypt, and we weren't swamped in the mire of idolatry and immorality that Egypt was. But each and every one of us is going through that train ride. We're going on the train. We're going from holiday to holiday. The whole world, in fact, is experiencing this calendar cycle. And it's not just, a personal journey on the train. That's the world. The calendar year is that train ride. And that the energies of freedom, therefore, are for all of us. And we're now need to make sure that we're counting, just like that guy at AA. How many days it's been since my last drink? What behavior was it that we want to leave behind? It's not too late. You can still decide, what is it that what's my personal Egypt that I want to leave behind? I had a friend before Passover. And every year before Passover, we call up we speak on the phone, or we get together in person, and we come up with some Passover questions, additional questions. What are the additional questions you're going to ask at the Seder? Like, for example, with all other viruses, we don't even get vaccinated once. Why with this virus do we get vaccinated twice? Right? That's a joke. But we come up with some other good questions that you need to ask at the Passover Seder. And the Passover question we had this year was, in your personal liberation this year at Passover time, what are you leaving behind? Think about that. That's a question for your own life. It has nothing to do with ancient Egypt. It has to do with you right now. Your opportunity to free yourself from something that's holding you back, from something that's a bad influence, something that you know that you need to let go of. What are you letting go of? What are you freeing yourself from? And this period of time is a way of counting and cleansing ourselves. And each day is an accomplishment. Each day is something you want to take it and put it in your account. You put it in your bank account. You put it in your personal account. This is a successful day where I've been completely free of that behavior, that problem, that challenging issue that I'm struggling with. So if you didn't think about that question at your Seder, it's not too late. The energies right now of freedom are just continuing to flow for us, or flowing towards Shavuos. And we can still take advantage, and we can keep counting. And this is, in fact, there's 7 weeks, it's 49 days, 7 times 7. So this is only day 1 of week number 2, day 8. Got a long way to go. Lots and lots of wonderful things can be achieved. And when we finally achieve all that, we'll be so, we'll feel so accomplished. We'll be so excited to be ready for the next stop on the train. There's a little first thoughts about the counting of the Omer. We'll have some more, God willing, tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a healthy day, and a holy day. Feel good. And we'll see you tomorrow live at 5. Thanks for coming back and joining us after the Passover holiday. See you tomorrow on Live at 5.